God of War sucks. And I'm speaking relatively freely here. I have a few points that I want to mention. I tried to convey this in an essay, but if I read too much, then I can't focus on how I want to say things, and then everything sounds so monotone. And my voice is already relatively monotone, so that doesn't really help me in any way. Honestly, this game pissed me off so much, and this game, oh boy! First up, the story is not a story, it's a series of events. What do you mean by that? It's and then, and people and things pop out of nowhere where they have no reason to be. For example, Kratos and the boy, fucking hate the boy, we get to that as well, finally find the elevator to the vault, and all of a sudden one of the bad guys pops up and locks Kratos down, and the boy gets, I don't know, a tangent and freaks out, and there's lightning and shit everywhere. There's no need for him to be there. Why is he there? How did he sneak up on them? There is no explanation. There's just like, I have been following you. But no one notices? I mean, Mimir is constantly looking backwards. He's on the belt of Kratos and he's constantly looking in the other direction. So he should have seen him. And it's not like the northern gods are, I don't know, known for being sneaky or something. So that's bullshit. Speaking of which, why is scattering the ashes the only thing we want to accomplish, or the characters want to accomplish? Why isn't it like a mid-tier or midpoint goal? Like, for example, you reach the mountain, you scatter the ashes, and something happens, and then you're thrown into a different thing that you have to do. I mean, I know that what they want to come across is that the boy is basically Loki, and yeah, okay, but you could also put that in a midpoint, and then there's something else to tell. I mean, a reason why they would go to such length. And for them, or for the characters, the reason might be there. But for me, as a player, as an observer, I don't even know the mother. The only thing we see from her is her in the sheet of cloth. I don't know. You know what I mean. Like in the beginning when they burned her corpse. You never get to know anything about her, like except for when they say a few things about her. And yeah, she was a kind and nice woman, and she was able to, I don't know, get the hatred and anger out of Kratos and made him soft or something. I don't know. But we don't know anything about her. So the length that we have to go to just to scatter the ashes, and it's like, I don't know, you get lost in the way so many times. Like we have to constantly leave the main road, get something, and then move on. Honestly, this pissed me off so much. Like, for example, you go up the mountain, and then you see like, oh, there is this card that you could use, like it's a cable card, which is bullshit to be there, but let's just go with it. It is there. Then you want to use it, obviously, because it would be a faster way up the mountain. It's like, no, you can't use it. It seems to be stuck somewhere. It's like, oh, so you want me to go up there on foot. And then up there, I can release the cable car, and then I can use it to go back down faster because, okay, I guess. So you get to the point, and then you have Odin's breath, I guess. Like this black stuff that comes out of the mountain, and it's like Freya comes and tells you, yeah, you have to go to this other world and grab something and then come back. And what? I mean, I am still trying to get to the top of the mountain, and the only way to the top of the mountain is not go around there, climb there. No, we have to get to another world. And I know what the mechanic is, that we are introduced to, there are different worlds, you can travel to them and so on and so forth, but it's bullshit at this point. Seriously, I mean, it would have been enough that if we climbed the mountain, we are on top of the mountain, and then Mimir tells us, yeah, there are other worlds, and probably this other world, because he knows the mother, basically, this is the world that she actually meant. Which, honestly, it's fucking lucky that Mimir is still up there on this mountain. Okay, his eternal punishment, blah, blah. But seriously, anything could have happened. I don't know, lightning struck him and the tree fell down the mountain or something like that. So that Kratos and the boy actually meet Mimir, who can tell them that the mountain she was talking about wasn't this mountain. This is that's basically directly in front of them, but it's from a completely different world. It's like, when I say to my loved ones, I want you to scatter the ashes from the highest mountain, and it's not like, I don't know, somewhere in the Alps or something like that, or wherever, but what I mean is Mount Olympus on Mars. It's like the same equivalent, basically. It's bullshit. While we're on topic on leaving, we leave to get this light of, I forgot the name. We get this artifact, and this artifact is part or the reason for a war between dark and light elves. And we go in there, we don't want to meddle with the war, but we go in there, we get the artifact, which is the reason for the war. Then we go out and nobody bats an eye. No one mentions this, like, there you go. Then we use that to get through this Odin's breath thingy, the black cloud, basically. And then we never need it again. It's never come up again. It's basically a roadblock sign. It's completely utter nonsense. I mentioned that Baldur is like the main antagonist, which in the first God of War, it wasn't like, I don't know, we were fighting Narcissus or I don't know, whoever, like some small fish. We fight Ares, the God of War in the first God of War. And here we have like this nobody, in my opinion, because people have heard of Ares or they know Zeus. And in this one, it's this whiny teenager, basically. I mean, I know he's a god and he's basically unkillable and stuff like that, but his reason to go after Kratos is what exactly? He wants to feel something? He hates his parents?
What you did to me. What you did to me!
This guy is still a teenager and he's like a hundreds or thousands of years old god who is acting like a bratty teenager. I think, fuck, man. Going to the gameplay itself. The main part of the gameplay is the combat, which is fair. God of War always had a lot of combat, but the combat system is so slow and tedious. Everything is so... everything takes so long. And it's like, yeah, you cannot just button mash and then something happens. Yeah, okay, but why does it have to be so slow? I mean, I don't know. Have you ever played a beat 'em up? Yeah, you cannot just press buttons and something happens. If you want to play it legit, you have to know what you press when. And it's still not slow and tedious. I don't know, play, for example, Ace Blue, play even Street Fighter. It doesn't really matter. Some are faster, some are slower, but in the end, you cannot just press buttons, something happens, but they are not slow. They are pretty fast. But here it is like, Kratos, get to the fucking point of fucking hitting seriously. Also, like, and this is also why it makes it slow and tedious, why do basic enemies have so much life? I mean, seriously, why do they have to take so many punches? And it's like, fucking basic enemies, they should be like one-hit fodder or something like that. And they keep coming. There's just always the same enemy type. They just level up and then they take the same hits as before. It's like you don't do any progress, you don't get stronger, you don't do anything. It's just they're always at the same point as you, damage-wise. So why the fuck? I mean, seriously, this is such a waste of time. It's so much padding the runtime, and it's so unnecessary. I mean, the game's main story is 25 hours long. 25 fucking hours. It's more than a day. And it's only because these fights are so fucking slow. Why do so many waves have to spawn in? And why do they constantly come in? I mean, you enter a room, you see 5 guys, and these 5 guys already take like, well, I don't know, 5 minutes to beat. And then there's 5 more, and then there's 5 more, and another 5, and another 5. And then comes a bigger one. And what? It's half an hour until you're done with a fight, and it's like not a boss fight or anything. It's just like, again, it's just a roadblock so that you are allowed to then interact with the world, which basically means you run up to a chain, press B, and then you climb up the chain. It's like, wow, thanks. He couldn't do that while the enemies were there? Yeah, because prompt wasn't there. So obviously not. And yeah, I get it. You're supposed to fight the enemies. And then honestly, there were games that made this, I don't know, way more interesting. For example, when you fight the enemies and when you fight the last enemy, there's this small cutscene, and even God of War did it. Like, he punches the guy into the wall and then the chain falls down and then he can go up. Like, something like that. Anything. And when we're on the fighting, the camera is simply too close. It's fucking too... Why is it so close? I mean, during exploration, during the cutscenes, it's okay. It's cinematic. It's cool. It looks nice. It looks really nice. But during the fighting, come on, give me some space. I want to see stuff. Especially when you have the fucking audacity to have enemies attack you from behind, which isn't the worst part. There are arrows that indicate attention. There is an enemy attacking you from behind. But the whole combat system is about timing. So you have to time your blocks, you have to time your retaliations, you have to time your dodges. Otherwise, the enemies will just come after you and then still hit you if you don't time correctly. But you have no idea when the timing is right, when an enemy is behind you. You just have this fucking arrow that is blinking and you have no idea when to do that. And on top of that, there are attacks that you cannot block, which are indicated by a red arrow, but still they're time critical. So you cannot dodge anything that is from behind. You have to constantly move about the arena in an awkward way to have all enemies in front of you. It's like, yeah, it's more realistic because if enemies would attack you from all sides, you'd be dead. Yeah, of course you would be. That's the reason why in movies, only one after the other attacks the main hero, because otherwise the main hero wouldn't stand a chance. That's just how it is. It's just logic. So now that I've got that out of my system, why do we have to fight the same boss enemy like over and over? I mean, yeah, there are varieties, like we fight Balder twice and we fight his goons and we kill one of them and then we fight the other one. But the main bosses, apart from the dragon, which is really cool. I like the dragon. The dragon is awesome. It was pretty much scripted, but it was fun. You know, it was scripted, but it was fun. It wasn't too long, it wasn't too tedious, it was cool. But other than that, we always fight the same troll that for some reason, all the time, they find this pillar which they attack you with, and the only thing that differs is like their element, which is bullshit. Why only them? And only if you beat them, you will get an upgrade for your axe, which is bullshit again. Couldn't there be some more variety, or I don't know, have him battle once or twice? Normally, what would happen is you have an enemy that is a boss at one point, and then later down the road, they turn into a normal enemy that you have to deal with like that, which shows you your progression. You've actually gained strength. You got stronger through the adventure. It's just a way of conveying that. No, this is always the same type. This is basically the same attack patterns. They vary a little bit, but in the end, it's always the same boss enemy that we fight, and it's pretty boring. Also, the killing animation is always the same. It's always, we bring the pillar crushing down on his skull. It's always the same. Variety. Please, not just visuals, actual variety. Thanks. That would be great. Also, like for the normal enemy design, unimaginative at best and boring at worst. I'm not too familiar with Northern mythology, to be honest, but I assume that there are way more enemy types that they could have depicted instead of, I don't know, elves and Draugr, which are basically wood zombies with glowing eyes. And then they have like small, big, and bigger, but really boring. And that's the only enemy type that you fight throughout, basically. It's not really much that you can fight. And they level up with you, as I already said. So it's not like you meet them once, and then when you meet them the second time, you can, I don't know, knock them over like the pushovers. No, they keep being strong. Next up. Why is it so hard to get your life back? Like, why? Why? Is it because of the challenge, or because it would be too easy otherwise? But honestly, almost no enemy drops life. Like, really, nothing. Nothing at all. And even if they do, it's like at the end or somewhere in the mid part of the waves, or the last enemy of the wave. Like, and then you have to run up there, you have to press a button, and then it heals you. But in each fight, like only 2 or 3. If you're lucky, you find, I don't know, some pots that you can smash where you have life, and you have a trinket that will give you some life back, but it heals you over time. Why does it have to be so hard to heal yourself? Why can't you leech life from your enemies, for example? Why? And why is it so hard to actually gain life, that you have more maximum life? This is like, yeah, it's more realistic, but bullshit realistic. We are fighting as the guy who killed all the gods in Greek, who is now fighting the gods in Northern mythology. Like, don't come up with like it's more realistic. It's bullshit. And it wouldn't be such a problem if the enemies wouldn't level with you, if they would actually stay at their threat level that they initially had. Speaking of which, why is your axe limited to the story progression? What you can do with your axe and how you level it up and stuff like that is limited to story progression. And why the fuck is that? Because that means that you can never out-level the enemies, which is the basic thing that you are able to train, get better, and then have an easier time against enemies. That's the reason why your things level up. If you, I don't know, think for example, Tomb Raider, like the first Tomb Raider, your weapons don't level up. You have your basic pistols, which have infinite ammunition, and then you get other weapons who do more damage, so you have easier time defeating the enemies. But the life pool of the enemies doesn't change. You could beat the whole game with just your pistols. You don't need to do anything. And if you, for example, in later games, can level up your weapons, the enemies don't level with you, so that it actually has an impact. In this way, leveling up your axe does donkey dick. Nothing. Tits for the birds. Same goes for this armor bullshit. Like, why do you have that? Why is there a level attached to the armor? Like, if you get armor and then you put it on and all of a sudden you are like level 4 and enemies are level 5 and you need new armor to... What the fuck is this leveling system? I mean, seriously. Also, why does there have to be a skill tree? I mean, I know that you can level up your weapons in older God of War games. I'm aware of that. But why the fuck a skill tree in a God of War game? It's like, does he have to learn how to use the axe? Or is he coming up with it on the spot where you're like, that might be a good idea to throw the axe and then recall it to me. I have never thought of that before. What the fuck? I mean, seriously, okay, you could tell me that, yeah, the axe was from his wife and she got it from the dwarves and he never fought with it, but he's pretty skilled. This guy's a warrior. He knows how to deal with an axe. He knows what to do. This whole skill tree thing, this is I don't know, it's a point in general that pisses me off. But seriously, what the fuck? I mean, come on. Boy sucks. He sucks. I hate him. He sucks. The boy is just the worst. He starts off as frail and unsure of him, and Kratos knows that. And he shows it so many times. And it's like, yeah, the first troll comes up and he's shitting his pants. He's like, absolutely, oh my god, what's happening? And Kratos steps in and beats the troll. And the thing is that when you start the fight, the boy fights with you. Like, he was just scared a moment ago and couldn't move. And now in the fight, he's with you. Why? Why don't they leave him out? It would be a character moment to actually say, okay, he got scared. He couldn't help Kratos in the fight. It shows him that he maybe is not ready. He wants to be, but he's not. He needs to get his composure. You know, he needs to grow. He's still small. He's scared. He's still a kid. And he needs to accept that and start to grow from there. Something like that. But no, he just joins you in the fight and he's like, I don't know, athletic and jumping around and shooting arrows and stuff like that. And even taunting the big guy. And why? And then when you beat the troll, he comes up and running, you're nothing to me, and striking it with his knife. And he's scared shitless at this moment. And it shows. I mean, they obviously want to show that. But the thing is that Kratos scolds him for, yeah, you're scared and blah. But this is not something that the boy realizes, that he actually was scared, which made him act like that, and that he should try to master his fear and go through, even if it's scary, help his father, something like that, to actually have him grow as a character. But what happens is that Kratos ultimately is right, because he doesn't want his boy to know that he's a god, because he knows that his boy is not ready for this knowledge, because he would, get a god complex, basically. That's exactly what is happening. So Kratos is absolutely right about his boy. His judge of characters is spot on, because the first thing that the boy does when he realizes that he's a god, or a half god at least, he's like,
we're gods. We can do whatever we want, right?
Kratos was absolutely right about this guy. This boy, I really fucking hate him. And the thing is that they could have done something else with him. Like, they could have taken a different route with him. What they did, basically, was not have the boy realize that he has to grow up, that he has to try to follow his father's example, not all the way through, because he sees the flaws in his father and wants to be better than him and stuff like, things that you realize when you grow older, when you grow up, when you get bigger, when you leave the being a child behind. But what they did instead was frame it so that Kratos is wrong for hiding the truth from him, which he only did because he thought that the boy was not ready to know that because of his character. You know what I'm getting at? It's like, in the end, Kratos is absolutely right about him, and he has not the responsibility to actually know what this means, take up responsibility for what he is, and he's not just a god to, I don't know, do whatever he likes and stuff like that. No, he actually has to take up responsibility in being a god and, I don't know, living eternal life and stuff like that. But no, what they do is frame it that like, yeah, Kratos needs to accept that his little boy has grown up. Again, it's fucking bullshit. And while we're on the topic of him wanting to explore the world and stuff like that, why is exploring the world so little rewarding? I mean, seriously, whenever you go somewhere and you want to explore the world, it's like, well, you can't go there yet because the door won't open, but the game won't tell you what you have to do in order to open the door. It's only later when you, I don't know, find an item and see a door that is the same. It's like, now I know how I can open that door. But the problem is, once I have that, I forgot what the other fucking door was. I have no idea where to go then. And if I do and get something, it's often not worth it. You get a piece of armor that you can also buy from the dwarves. You get, I don't even know, honestly. I've completely forgot what you could get money to buy stuff, I guess. If you want to make the game more open and encourage people to explore it, why do you constantly block them from exploring? Like, I mean, it makes sense to say, like, okay, at this point, like, for example, in Metroid, at this point, you have this set of items and you cannot go through there, basically. For example, there's one door you can't go through, which is a whole other section of the game that you cannot explore yet because you don't have this one weapon. You get the weapon at another part, and then you're reminded, hey, was this one door that you couldn't open. Normally, there are not too many of them that you couldn't open. You go there, and then you can explore everything. But here it's like, hey, I could go there. Oh no, it's a roadblock. I could go there. Oh no, another roadblock. I could go there. I don't have that thing either, though I can't go there. You know what I mean? It's like constantly you are being pushed back from exploring, and then it's like, yeah, but you could explore the world if you want to. No, you cannot, because you as developers constantly pushed me back from exploring. At some point, I was like, yeah, okay, then fuck it. I don't want to explore because I have no idea where to go. It's not limiting me from a level design perspective, so that I know in the beginning, like, okay, I can't go there. Like after the snake wakes up, the lake loses like a lot of water, like the water level is going down. A lot of stuff is revealed, and I should be able to explore that stuff then. And then you could, I don't know, terraform something else to open another path. You know, there are things that you can do here, but they obviously just thought, yeah, you can go there, and then we put this door there so that he cannot go further because he needs that skill in order to solve this puzzle, or give me the puzzle and then let me think, okay, I don't think I can do that yet. I think I have to get back because I will remember the puzzle more than I will remember the door. Why? Is the interaction with the world so limited? I mean, the ways that you can go are limited as well, and the only thing you do is fight enemies, basically. And if you interact with the world, it's basically like climb up a chain, climb down the chain, jump over this gap, hold the lever and throw your axe so that it freezes. Then you can let go of the lever, and then you can recall your axe and give me something to do. I don't know, let me interact with the fucking world. Let me do something. If a few people watch this video and find it entertaining or have the same thoughts or have different thoughts, and if you want, leave a comment, say if you agree with me or not, and I don't know, then I will make the next video about the Spider-Man game, which also pissed me off, like way more than it should. And to conclude this little video, Kratos, I'm sorry, but your game sucks.